Hi, and welcome to this tutorial on how to select music using the CasaTunes app for iOS. As you can see in this screenshot here, we are currently selecting the master bedroom, and in the master bedroom we're using David's player source, which is a CasaTunes media player. And you can also see that we are currently playing Spotify music. Let's start by changing the music that we're listening to. So the easiest way to do this, there's two ways really. One is you can go to the menu options by clicking on the tray icon and select music. Or the second way, and the quicker way, is to basically just click on the down arrow on the right hand side over here. So let's do this, and here you can see that we start out by presenting all the different music services that are currently installed on my music server. And in my case, I have a lot of different music services, but let's go ahead and start by selecting music from David Spotify as an example. So we pick David Spotify, and then we're presented with the next level of menus. And so I like playing music that's sort of chill, so I'm going to go into moods, I'm going to go into chill. And then one of the musics that I like, the playlist that I like, is your favorite coffee house. So you'll see now in the icon or the artwork for the playlist, you'll see that there's a play button inside a circle. If I press on that, what it does is it basically replays the queue with all the songs from that playlist and starts playing them. And for the most part, that's what you want to do. On the other hand, sometimes you want to add music to a playlist. So let's select a second playlist and add that music to the queue. So again, we hit the down arrow to enter the music selection process. And now here you'll notice that instead of being presented with the list of all the music services, we basically go back to where we last selected music. Now if I want to go back to the beginning of the music selection process and pick a music service, I can go ahead and hit the home button, and that returns me back over there. But let's go back into our Spotify. Let's go into chill. And the other thing I like is these, they have some nice classic acoustics or acoustic hits. So if I just, for the acoustics hits, if I just pressed on the play button inside the artwork, it would just replace the current queue. And that's not what I want to do. I want to append these 103 items to the existing queue. So let's just go back quickly and see how many items we have in the queue now. So I already have 101 items, so when I had the 103, I should then have 204 items in the queue. So let's go into my acoustic hits. And now you can see at the top here that I have the play all button, which essentially does the same thing. It has the same effect as if I just hit the play button on top of the artwork. But you also see the ... and that's where I can have more functionality in terms of adding things to the queue. So I press the ... and then I select add to queue. It says I added 103 songs to the queue. And now if I go back to the queue, you'll see that there's 204 songs in the queue. So that's a quick way of, so that's a quick overview of how to select music. Now another thing that you might have noticed was that when I go back here, let's say I go into David Spotify, you'll see that I also have the option to search for songs. Okay, so instead of browsing for the music, I might just want to search for songs. So let's go ahead and search for John Mayer. It's going to give me a whole lot of different options. I can pick the artist John Mayer, and it shows me some of his tracks. It shows me a radio station for John Mayer, and then it shows me all his albums. I like the Continuum album, so let's go ahead and play that. And it starts playing that. Okay, now another thing to notice is, and this is dependent on the music service, but you'll notice that in the now playing screen, I also have the ... down here, and that adds some additional functionality, sometimes for music selection as well. So let's press that, and you'll see the first thing is that there's a quick way to get to the search. So instead of having to go through the music selection process, I can just hit search over here, and it essentially has the same, it'll end up with the same results as I did in that previous search. And you'll also notice that by default, we'll set the search criteria to be the name of the artist that you're currently listening to. For Spotify, there's actually a couple of really nice features. If I go back into the ... if I'm listening to a song in a playlist and I want to know more about that album or other songs in the album, I can just select go to that album, and it will take me to that album on Spotify. Similarly, if I like the artist, I can go to the artist. Now, this is specific to Spotify music services. Different music services will have different functionality. But here I go back to getting all that information on John Mayer as the artist. And finally, one thing that's also really nice is if I like a particular song and I want more songs like this, I can go ahead and select more like this. And now it gives me a bunch of other songs like this. And if I like those, I can go ahead and add them to the queue. So that's a quick overview of how to select music. One last thing I do want to mention though is that when the room is off, so when I double click and turn the room off, you'll notice here that there's no down arrow. So a room has to be on before you can change the music selections. Okay, thank you for your time.